Hello people, and welcome back to part 18 of the build guide 2. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Thank you so much again for all the support last week on this series. Guys, very much enjoyed our little cargo hubs and lots of ideas to watch fit here. Someone said an amusement park, also some residential as well. So I think we'll probably save this space for a stream. I think it's probably too small for an episode. But yeah, it's quite a unique little space to work with, so we'll do that. But you guys really enjoyed all our fusing, right? How great is this? This is the best vanilla fusing I think, mate, we've ever stumbled across. Absolutely love this. Vanilla cargo station with the furniture factory. It works out tremendously, doesn't it? So really happy with it, and it's alleviated a lot of pressure off of the roads here that were taking a fair bit of industrial traffic, of course, because there's two industry areas down here now, but those trains have absolutely just taken the pressure off, which is nice. And of course we had the train gang on us as well. As always, we will correct these curves once we have access to the tile. I promise. I promise we will. But either way, today, the quest towards downtown continues, because we're going to head back across the river to where we were working on last time, before I turn off my time of day. But what would like to happen here today is a little bit of mixed density residential, some low and high, as we begin to, again, add into that skyline as we crawl up to the main downtown. And then also I'd like to throw in a stadium here as well, alongside the bus waterfront that's going to develop, because I've got some quite fancy ideas of what I want to happen here. But first of all, let's go ahead and fly into a network time lapse. I want to bring the bus road up and along with the river, so we can start to plan that in. And then I also want to actually disconnect this bridge here, bring off some slip ramps, and then take it across the roads. So we'll see what that looks like as well. That should be quite cool. And then we can get into the build. So we'll be right back. So there we go, we have just expanded our networks. I love how this office or commercial asset now sits against the bridge. Going to be more laser height for the city, right, which is always appreciated, and it looks like there's just enough room for the hot dogs and the donuts to graze under that bridge, which is good news. Wonderful, fantastic. We've also named the area today that we're going to be working in Hogan after our wonderful patron subscriber Josh Hogan. Thank you for all your support, Josh, really do appreciate it, and I hope this little slice of Orchid Bay lives up to your opinions. So what exactly is happening here today? So what I would like to do is bring in a stadium into this point. I think what we are going to do is actually start out by upgrading a couple of sections of our bus ring road into pedestrian road, and I'd then like to see if we can bring up some roads to start holding that stadium and position it within the space. So I think in terms of what asset we're going to use, I'm thinking aquatic centre. Again, we have to bear in mind here that we are still constructing our skyline, and like with all the other angles that we're sort of carefully constructing, we want to make sure that there's a sensible crawl up to those eventual towers, because we're going to be building the most of the skyline out of the skyscrapers content creator pack, and a lot of these boys are like super tall, so we have to make sure that the ascent up to them looks realistic. So with that in mind, I think the aquatic centre is going to do the best job. However, orientation, even from this point, is important. We can see that it's actually lower on this side. So I think I'm going to sort of already know that I want this to be on the opposite orientation. So let's go for there. Don't bother about the path either side, that's going to be okay. I'll flip it around that side. There we go. So now we have the lower end of the building facing down to the lower end of the skyline. And that's going to be wonderful. So now we have that in, let's go ahead and start hooking our existing networks together. I think we will continue to respect this little median collector system that can run through the suburb. Let's go ahead and just draw it up in a couple of places so we're all coming together. And then through here as well, we obviously don't want it there because the trees will go through the bridge. That's not very good. And we have lost a little bit of high density from this area. But we're going to replace that today. Cool, let's give it a fancier tree. Perhaps something associated with swimming if we can. Jacarandas are a bit too bright, I think, maybe. How about just some simple wild hedge? Just on the road. Maybe we don't go for a large tree. I'm not sure. This is always the most difficult part of the build. I think we'll run with the wild hedge right now. We'll see how it settles in. Cool. So we'll return to the stadium in a hot second here. We are going to want to make sure that it gets power though, so people will start coming and going into it, and it's not just sat there doing nothing. So with the residential, we've also given Hogan the theme of mid-century modern, which of course we've used before for our sort of luxury zone suburbs here. But I'd now like to specifically zone this en masse to create a very cool aesthetic and something very nice. So let's go ahead and grab ourselves a nice road again. Let's go for the 2-lane road with grass, why not? Then what I'm looking to have here is just 2 deep sections of this, alright? So we want to go for this style of zoning, okay? We also want to repeat that again against the opposite side. I'm going to leave a pathway in between though, I think. So I'm going to be doing it like that. Okay, and then once this comes into effect, we will be able to hopefully see what this comes into, because there's a very small selection of assets within the 2 deep pool for mid-century modern. And if you get the right ones in, it can just be a nice little solution to some low density housing. But we'll see how it comes in anyway. Has to grow up and level up, of course. It's these ones here, right? These are the ones that I'm after. They're just great, aren't they, right? Little small houses, nice fencing around the back of them, some nice prop detailing. Much nicer and more appropriate than stuff like this, right? I think just for a suburb, right? You take a look at something from vanilla that looks very city skylines, then hopefully we can get used to something a little bit different over here, okay? So it's going to take some specific zoning, but that is the pattern that I want. It's that 2x2 one. So now we know that in, let's go ahead and just save those zoning squares, and then we'll get them in as and when we want. See, there's another one that comes in there as well. That's not too bad either. But again, like I say, I don't really want you to have that back end, so we'll zone it up. Don't mind that one there either. That's pretty cute, right? So we'll definitely flesh out this idea as the episode goes on, once they all start to come through. And I think we'll stick with... I definitely want to remeasure that. Let's go for 350 here. And then I want to come down so we get that same space in. And then actually let's continue that along. No, you're not going to connect in there, are you? Yes, you will actually. We can get a pretty cool road network on there. That's not too bad. Slight little curve in the road there as it veers off, but I'm happy with that, I think. Cool. And then yes, we'll keep this pattern going as it comes in. Let's make sure we keep powered as well so we don't get people abandoning. So yeah, that's going to be my choice thing for the day. We're going to go for these little 2 deep. Let's maybe go for... Let's see, how much room do we actually have here? There's about 45 tiles, isn't there? So let's make 20 of it. This sort of little low density residential pattern design that we're going to run with for this area. And oh, you're not gonna... Oh, that'd be great if we could do that again. Can we do that? Can we maybe go for that connection there? That's what I want, isn't it? Yeah, that is. And then we can bring that up there, hopefully. Cool. Yeah, that gives us some nice grids then. So let's round all those off. And again, we can see now where all our local roads are going to want to connect into. It's a real shame you're not going to connect in there, but we actually will make sure you do. Let's establish some sort of road hierarchy for the area. So we'll keep a 4-lane road going into the suburb so people can be served and whatnot. And then we'll also allow space for our collector to the stadium to come in here as well, which will hopefully snap off an angle here with a touch of curve and a bit of a road guideline. Everyone should be happy. Wonderful. Fantastic. So that's really coming up nicely, isn't it? So in terms of the other residential, what I want here now is to start playing with some slightly less desirable patterns. So let's go. I want some more sort of tower blocks in here, again contributing to that skyline if at all possible. And there's only really a couple of zoning sizes that'll do a decent job here. And then we'll do a 4x4 unit in that space as well. And if we can save some pathways between these buildings, that's going to help us out in the long run for walkability. But again, I want taller assets to come in here. And then in the meantime, we can carry on getting in a lot of this residential here. We've also got this pedestrian road here as well now, which can be redrawn. Hopefully just on a straight angle, because he is ever so slightly curved here. What will that do for me, I think? I want to see if anyone will really start using that as a way back and two across. I guess we'll see. Cool. So I'm liking the way that this is growing in so far. We are getting some tall towers in, which is always appreciated. Okay, and we've got some lower density happening out here as well. I think I'd also like to give them some parks. Let's go ahead and throw down some sports courts if we can. Let's have one right here, and then we'll do a basketball court on this corner. And dog park as well. Dog park's always a fun asset, isn't it? And it fits perfectly in those spaces, so why not? Wonderful. Cool. So we keep this going as and when our demand comes in. We'll also keep that pattern going there as well. But now I'd like to turn my attention toward the sports facility over here and start adding assets around this to give it that sort of sense of park. And I think we can probably justify a metro out here as well. So let's have a little chat about what that looks like. So let's grab some of our bus lines, and we're going to need a new line. So let's see what's happening. Currently we've got lines running into this way. That's perfect actually, I think. Let's start a new stop over this way, and then are you going to want to run? He's going to stop here for the time being, of course, because he can't really go anywhere else just yet. And then we're going to send him back. And now how is he going to want to loop around? That's kind of stupid, the way that he does that. So with that in mind then, let's actually take his stop off of the bus ring here. And then we'll actually feed him back through the city, where he can stop at multiple places, picking up people here. You can also come back through the transport hub that we built a couple of episodes ago, down at this residential as well, and then hopefully he can loop back through here, where he also might as well stop there pretty much, because there's other bus stops here as well, so that'll all be more convergence, and then that'll give us another bus line that's now making use of this. However, I would also like to upgrade some of these spaces now into... Well, let's make sure that we specifically measure this actually, because this will be quite tasty. If we can do pedestrian there... Oh, actually, yeah, should we do it? Well, this is quite fun. Let's do it this road guidelines. I'm very much looking forward to sort of how creative we can be with this little bus ring road that's going to start developing around downtown Orchard Bay. I'm focusing so much on buses. Okay, but that will give us the ability to add another stop onto this bit here, which is great because that's going to help service the residentials here. And then I think a little bit of pathway should keep everyone connected. And then let's go for a choice fencing, probably something fancier while we're working with mid-century modern. Come off our road length maybe, and perhaps a tree pattern here, maybe some lindens to reflect the status of the Hogan suburb. I think it said Logan then. Okay, cool. I think we can start playing with pallets like that. Hopefully the power will be sinking through shortly. Yes it is. We can get rid of the power lines now. Splendid and tremendous. I don't worry about the stadium, we will give that power again eventually. We'll jump through. But I'm enjoying this right there. We go. There's someone jumping across there now as well. And thankfully the AI not being too stupid with these slip lanes, thinking they might be coming up and around. Oh, there we go. There's some walking porn over in the distance. Where are you guys going? I wonder if you're all fans or new citizens. You're all tourists, aren't you? Because you're all pink. Yeah, they're all heading to the stadium. Okay, that's good news though, right? At least they're actually using it. Wonderful. So now let's turn our attention toward the stadium, because I'd like to start pairing some service assets with this to increase its standing, so to speak. So I was thinking about actually combining this with something from the university campus area, because I think we're going to kind of combine those assets into the downtown, right? I want the main assets like the bookstores and the dormitories to be slightly like on downtown Main Street as assets in the city, rather than the university, if that makes sense. But I was thinking maybe liberal arts, because we are actually very nearing university availability again, which is great because we only built a level 3 campus last time, right? But I don't think we're going to do that. What we are going to do is actually bringing in some medical assets, and I think we're going to go for A community pool. Now these are pretty expensive, at $1,200 a week to upkeep. And I just want to see now where we can start positioning some assets around here to start making it look as though this is where people perhaps train. I don't think I'm totally against that. And I think what we could even do is bring across maybe like a cafeteria. I think that might be nice. It only increases the land value and the campus area attractiveness. It's not actually increasing the campus availability just using the cafeteria. And then I feel like a trade school library might also be appropriate over here because I want those chunky assets now, right? But I don't particularly want to use unique buildings here. So we're going to have to see what we can do. Look at that though. So satisfying to walk, isn't it? I was thinking, you know, these guys are going to need a metro, but they're walking by themselves. What metros are available? We could use another content creator one. Okay, so it can come out from there, and then we can probably actually prepare to extend this collector system through the area here. So again, just in my never-ending quest of thinking about downtown, I'm thinking I want some sort of like open green space, quite specifically landscaped and measured, and then we'll jump into the towers, and I think that's going to start happening around this space here. So this will essentially become park onwards, I think. And it also allows us to converge metro and bus here. I want this station very specifically placed here. If we go to there, directly outside, we're going to have to curve the metro around, but that's okay. Not your entire connection though, right? Okay, how about if we were to come around the back of you with the road network? But I guess we can still do some pretty cool things with it. Some thunderboxes will probably go nicely here actually, won't they? Granted we can fit them in. Yeah, so if we stick in a thunderbox here, and probably even a cafe on its side actually, because it will fit into that space. Again, it's a wonderful thing to do to help repurpose some park assets in and around stations. Add bits some more personality into them. Could also replace this with a pedestrian road if I wanted to. And then just have no cars coming through this at all. Which would look quite nice coming into the front of the arena actually, wouldn't it? Should we do that? I feel that might be a good configuration. Hello? Hello guys, you alright? Got the people using the bus as well, goodness gracious me. Definitely wants a metro line, this, doesn't it? We definitely need a metro line here. This is also, I imagine this is going to be a significantly busy line as well because it's near a stadium, so I think we're going to go ahead and make this double-decker immediately. And we'll also make it a slightly pink double-decker, why not? So we'll have that in there. You are still growing up. You are horrific, goodness gracious, no thank you. That is not what we want growing in there. Let's wait for those to go away. Okay, yeah, but I think I'll just want to knock all this over by a tile and then we'll see what it looks like. So I think I do want some campus assets over here by the Varsity Stadium. So I think what we will do is actually make this Varsity Stadium belong to Prepare to Farm. So we're going to need to drag out the campus area all the way to Prepare to Farm without destroying another region, hopefully. Cool. So let's make this campus area. This is, of course, going to make the Varsity Stadium belong to Prepare to Farm, but I'm fine for the campus to have sort of a separate stadium elsewhere in the city. That's going to be fine for me, even though you wouldn't really associate farmers with aquatics, really, I don't think, would you? It's not sort of a general association you tend to make. But you can see now, as we hover over them, that Prepare to Farm also extends over to Hogan over here now. Which means we can be quite creative indeed. So I think we're just going to extend this campus area out here a little bit. Just into the spaces that I want to fill with campus infrastructure, essentially. And it looks actually like Prepare to Farm is on the precipice of leveling up. Yeah, it's got more than enough students, goodness gracious, and a lot of academic work, so with a little bit more campus attractiveness, actually let's do that, because it's about to hit its academic year. That's going to unlock us some new buildings, including 3 new ones. Oh, we can even get the laboratories in as well, which is a really big asset, which is nice, because that's going to help us with our climb. So let's do that then. Let's do that, it's kind of perfect timing, wonderful. So let's grab some appropriate assets. Again, I'm building a sports theme here, so I don't want random outdoor study areas. I'm very much after at the gymnasiums. Now, bearing in mind this is a campus area, so we can use pathways. We don't need roads here, which is always handy. So we can now almost start to develop like a mini campus over this way that everyone at the sports hall uses. Okay, we can have the gym there. That's going to be absolutely wonderful, isn't it, right? It's going to respect the grander Crawley height with all these buildings as well, which is fantastic. Here is our centralised view up to the stadium here now as well. And then the last one that I wanted was also the cafeteria. So you're saying you're not in a campus area, but you are if we place you here. So how are you going to work? I mean, I guess your garbage and resources will be picked up at the campus main building, won't it? Regardless of whether or not you're on a pedestrian road or not. So I think that should be okay. We're about to find out anyway. So let's bring this down. Alright, let's have them up there. So we can connect through. And I think this will almost be something like a cute little fan walk here. So if we keep the road going down, again, eventually hooking with that arterial there. And I think it'd be quite cool. We'd even give this a nightlife specialization, but I think some regular commercial will be fine. I just want some sort of bars and pubs and restaurants around here now. I think that's going to be quite nice. And I think, do I want you even on your other side here, maybe? So annoying it has that gap. I really wish I could make that flush. But, oh, I don't know. That is a tough orientation, that one, isn't it? I think that's perfect, isn't it? On the corner. Yeah, so that should now push prepare to farms. Yeah, over its threshold, which means in a couple of seconds' time, if I can extend this sentence long enough for the academic year to end. There we go. That was perfect timing, wasn't it? That wasn't edited either, that was actually right. That does give us a level 4 university, which is very exciting. Because it now gives us access to some larger assets, which are very well timed, I think, for appearing in this part of the city. So we're going to do that. We've also got the bookstore as well. Again, it's all about the vibe. I don't really want... Yeah, it's far too much of a posh building that for a sports complex. Don't really want that here. But definitely do want the labs to sit on a corner somewhere here. Okay, I know where I want this to go now. So let's start bringing out these roads, because of course this is going to be the main route in and out of downtown. So let's go with that 6-lane bicycle road. Now this probably will become tram road at some point, but we're going to need to factor in a tram interchange at some point, because I do want trams to come into the downtown. Cool, then let's push that campus area up and out this way. Yes, don't worry guys, we will give you a pedestrian service point, just give me a second. And then I want this to sit right in that corner. Okay, so back to it, and then that can now essentially start. There's a very lowest point of our skyline, and we can imagine what all having that little layer in there is going to do for the build come the end, right? Cool. So the campus assets, you know, I've always been obsessed with campus. It's one of my favourite DLCs. You can definitely bring in some chunkier, medium density vibes by being a little bit more creative with how their assets play. I've found anyway. Cool, so in terms of the road, oh, that's so irritating. I would love... I guess we don't need this connection here, do we? We can probably live without that. Let's just move it over, because I think I do want this road to continue on that angle before it eventually straightens out and forms the spine of the road network. I don't want it to turn off too soon. So with that in mind, we could actually place that on the corner there. Oh, it's just too small. What a shame. What a shame. God give me anarchy, right? Goodness gracious. But as a proof of concept, I hope you're all on board. It's quite nice, isn't it? I really do enjoy that. How we've got that positioned over that point there. Very nice. So in terms of view again now, I think it's going to be easiest to go ahead and get us little bits of gentle, pretty minimalistic, simple prop detail in here. We don't want too much sort of craziness, because the stadium will sort of speak for itself in the build. So pretty random table placements over this side. General spacing, a couple of bins on the corners as well. Go ahead and get some trees through here also. Let's get some live oaks near the station. Get some lindenwoods knocking around too if we can. I don't think a touch of fencing if we're using it against the bus ring road would also be inappropriate here, I guess. Right, and then with these ones over here, again, we want to make sure that it's all appropriate stuff. It's a shame we get so much car parking when I don't need it. Yeah, I'm kind of tempted to delete assets with car parking on, and then we want to make sure that everyone that needs the pedestrian service point does have it. And you also need to be given your campus area as well. Cool, it's a very tight blending of areas, but otherwise everyone should be okay. Granted they can get power, of course. So I guess I could go with the pathway through there instead. Actually, it might line up quite nice with the edge of the labs. Oh, no it doesn't. It very nearly does. Very nearly does. Should we go for that one instead? Okay, let's do that instead then. Cool, but I'm enjoying this little facility that's developing now. I definitely want more high density around here too. And again, I want maybe some more. So what patterns have we got here? What are you? You're a 4x3. I do like this tower here. So let's go for another 4x3 there. Maybe get another one in there as well. Possibly some bigger towers in these spaces again now too. We did do these a couple of episodes ago, but it's changed and developed here a little bit now. But otherwise, that should start giving us more towers, and we'll definitely get the rest of these little boys zoned up as well. It's going great, this little area. It's turning out quite nicely, it has to be said. Let's go ahead and get them all leveled up. I'm quite keen to see my pink double-decker bus fly through this area if we can wait for one. No? There we go, there's one of them. Oh, it looks very smooth, doesn't it? Looks like bubblegum. I think I can just about bear with it. Alright, maybe it's sponsored by something. Sponsored by Jigglypuff, I guess, right? That's the pinkest thing I can think of right now. Cool, and we've got some horrible assets in there that we need to get rid of. Goodness gracious, no thank you. Get rid of those zonings. So you want to keep these going as well now to make sure everyone around here is historical. Ideally want you a little bit taller. And you're okay as well. Cool, yeah, just let these boys level up now as well until we find something that we do like. But otherwise, this is coming along pretty nicely, isn't it? I'm very happy with it. But we're now starting to see this little spy sample develop, right? Using mid-century modern and 2x2 zoning. Special, right? All these little fence patterns that would otherwise be using nodes in vanilla. Nice tasteful mailbox here as well. Much more sensible houses, right? Thank God for Revo. Than the crap vanilla stuff. It's just so much more sensible, isn't it? Cool, well it is growing up and I'm happy with it. Oh, you idiot egg, I broke the pattern. Oh, that's going to annoy me. That's going to really... Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll do a different pattern against the edge of the road there, okay? We'll just save those guys there. It's going to be alright. You won't tell in the grand scheme of things. But either way, things are piecing together now. This little facility is slowly getting there. Last thing we need to have a look at really before detail and time-lapse is going to be in the little school campus because we got some elementary demand very nearly. And I think this little square here, what is that? Is that a rhombus, is it? I'm not entirely sure. The geometry nerds in the comments will let us know. But I think what we are going to do here is start to piece this in. Now hopefully we can... There is a sweet spot there. There is a sweet spot. So this is the large elementary school from the Hearts of Korea content creator pack. A really fun one, adds in a lot of really fun, cute assets. And I think as far as things go, I'm going to be pretty happy with that, right? It also fits perfectly into that window there as well. It's going to be a great asset along my main street here, isn't it? Could do with something big to mirror it over here, couldn't I? Maybe a library? We haven't placed a library since the start of the city, have we? I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm not planning to develop these spaces yet anyway, but let me know what you think of the library opposite the school. I think that's a nice combo. It's a bit of red brick on red brick action, isn't it? Which is nice. I think I enjoy it. Let me know what you think of the library. We'll leave it in for right now anyway. But either way, let's go ahead. And that should absolutely smash the demand for elementary now. Yeah, we won't need another elementary school for a long time. Let's go ahead and bring in some classic park assets. Maybe a plaza with picnic tables, so we can get one in there. Wonderful. It would also appear I might even be able to get one in directly behind, which would be nice, but I don't think we'll go for super mirrored. Let's see if we can also accommodate a small playground. Something like that. And then I think what we will do is then use the path network to essentially create the rest of the school itself. So we'll have a little path that runs through there. Let's keep our angle snap on, or at least where we need it. We'll entirely wrap that plaza up if we can. A little bit further out than that is needed. Cool. And then we'll extend this off on the angle. And then hopefully now a collection of classic sort of kids park props will come in helpful for developing a little space here. We'll get down our usual collection of our sets again. If you have Find It, you do get access to more vanilla props. So if you're on the PC, I would highly suggest adding Find It into your list of sort of game improvement, quality of life mods, if you like. Okay, different things and whatnot. Maybe a pavilion. There's a million variations of this sort of things, of course, that we can come up with. But it should give us a nice little time. And I think probably going to go for a line in a park fence. We don't often use the regular park fence that much these days. It's often sort of outperformed by the industrial and better sort of wooden fences, isn't it? Cool. You're going to need a pedestrian area service point, that's okay. But I just think there's a little way to fill some space and generate some school in there as well. It's going to be pretty nice, isn't it? I think I'm pretty happy with it. Absolutely not happy with that, though. That's why we need to be so careful, everyone, right? Not averse to a bit more commercial on the back of here, I think. Let's get some 3 deeps in, don't want lots of it. I think that does allow us to move into a detail in time-lapse, actually. Got a nice little facility here, some more medium density beginning to generate, so we just want to carry on fleshing out our small density in these spaces. Lots more detailing up against our bus ring road, and hopefully we'll see some people get off. There's something wrong there, isn't there? There should definitely be people waiting here. Does this path not actually register as connected? Do we need to come up and around the side? Maybe City Skylines wants us to do that instead. Can we come up this way? There should definitely be people waiting there, and getting off as well. Which leads me to believe that the AI can't, because they can't walk on the high-speed road, of course. I thought the pathways, there you go, now there is, now there's people waiting. Okay, yes, it wasn't actually registering as connected, there we go, now it is. But either way, continue on the pattern, sort out a tree for the road and lots of detailing and fencing. Designs and ideas, and wait for our choice commercial to come in. Love that little burger restaurant there. And you guys need to level up as well. But yeah, either way, let's detail up Hogan, our little mixed density sports complex against the waterfront here as we inch closer toward downtown. And then we'll be right back. Alright guys, let's have a little detailing review, shall we? So along our waterfront here, we've added in more bus stops and also an anti-clockwise bus route as well. Just because there was a lot of people waiting and it seems to be getting nice use as well, not at this particular stop but elsewhere along the line. Also some benches, little bird bath and some bins next to our stations, and then of course lots of this 2x2 housing coming in now from modern mid-century, which is a great low density alternative, isn't it? It's much more sensible, you get that much more uniform suburban look. Which is really helpful in vanilla. Then we have our towers over here now too, alongside a new addition over on this end. And then I'm still waiting for these to grow up. We're still sort of waiting for new shapes to come in this way. But pretty happy with that one, has to be said. And you as well. Cool. So yeah, just keep making historical as we come in. And then as we approach towards the main road, we do have some of our tennis courts around the backs of these towers, which are all very nice. And then we got a little pathway through here with a few trees in between them, so really nice use of some high density, and that's really what I wanted today with those kind of block towers. Again, to continue our crawl up to medium density, right? Cool. As we approach the main street, we arrive at the school and the library combo, and I did some road finagling here too. Let the road come out and then switch back to the orientation it was following. And then down the pedestrian street here, I've waited. Oh dear, it looks like someone's died at the flaming wing, right? How spicy are those wings? Extremely spicy by the looks of it. But the whole point here of what I wanted to do on this street was to have different cuisines along it, right? So you have some like spicy stuff going on right here. Maybe some like sort of a cranburger joint there, and there is like a little American store and general shops, and then there's a diner and the cafeteria, and then there's like a burger place down here. So different cuisines, and then run up to the stadium. I thought it'd be pretty cool. And then I did have to move the laboratory over. I couldn't stand the fact that this wasn't aligned. I had to have it go through. And then again, we've got some more commercial here. I love this for zoning, right? I realise it has parking, but maybe we can pretend it's for some sort of on-site caddy, maybe, that the stadium has for getting people around for parking there. If not, we'll go for bike parking. But some ATMs next to our little store here is some great zoning, isn't it? Then we got our cinema over here as well, and more assets down this way. Also flipped around the service point because we had the car park generate on the back of these assets, and I wanted to make use of it. So now it's like kind of behind the street, off-street parking from the pedestrian area, as we blend the service point into the build with a Korean police station in here as well, because we were getting a little bit of crime. And I love the way that all these assets just blend together with the metro, the pathway through and in between, which again feeds down onto this area. It's just a really nice happy zoning, isn't it, right? That's a great little sort of happy accident of natural growables, isn't it? Really happy with that. And of course people taking the metro back into the main transport hub now as well. Hope we see a crowd of folk arrive now. There we go. Wonderful news. Of course, this is only going to get busier and busier as everything heads into downtown, right? And all those high density assets start coming in. It should be rather exciting, I think. But yeah, super big fan of this pedestrian way that's developed out of the front of the stadium as a means to connecting back to our arterial frame up this way. And again, just a point of note, so many cyclists, right? So many people walking and taking public transport, and look at the pressure that takes off of the roads, right? We've got a stadium here with all these high density assets, and the traffic's chill, which is great. Our school park behind has obviously developed with another tower in between as well, with some chosen park assets around the bottom here. And then at the front of the stadium, we have actually left some spaces to purposely leave some areas undetailed and just some open green flat space. At the front of the stadium, also knocked it back as well to fit the tiles at the front, which perfectly aligns the back steps of the asset onto this little open concrete plaza, which is something quite hard to achieve in vanilla without surface painter. So really happy with the orientation of our aquatic centre, right? And it's going to be kind of the first point of interest, if we like, right? As we keep heading left along this lateral line now, and downtown begins to grow up and the builds get bigger, we can bring in more stadiums, expo centres, and just so many more fun builds we can have with all the unique buildings, right? With all these new networks and stuff. Also dropped in some mid-century modern car parking, as always, right? This goes great in vanilla now for providing car parking to a vanilla space, and because there's no parking spaces on these roads, the cars do actually seem to be using it, which is helpful. And then the community pool spills back into the gym, which of course goes back into our suburb, and the whole thing It just feels a really tasteful space, and again another build and another lesson in how we can crawl up to medium density using different themes, this time with some low density vibes, a bit of high density in there too, and a sports complex with the pedestrian street. And the park life area in the middle has turned out really nicely too. Nothing overly complicated here, just some simple park gates and pathways and whatnot are wrapped around the skate park, and it's just a nice little happy green space to be enjoyed. And again, it's going to serve as that noise barrier as well, you know, because the stadiums are super loud. And we have a look at their noise pollution. These guys here might eventually start to whinge of noise pollution, but for right now they're okay. They're not doing too badly. Everyone else will be fine, but you know, we definitely couldn't have zoned right up to here. But otherwise, guys, that is going to do it for today. Let's thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, likes, comments and shares below really do help the channel to grow and bring more people to me. Even much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. This area will continue to level up, and that population will continue to just slowly creep us up as we head towards those downtown tiles. I'm really looking forward to playing with some skyscrapers. We're getting very close to that now, so very exciting. Again, please do keep all that engagement coming down below. It's so nice to see you all enjoying this vanilla series so much. I'm glad you all managing to take inspiration and learn different things as well. It really is. I'm trying to read all the comments. I might not be able to engage with them all, but definitely trying to read through them all at least once. So thank you for all that support. It really means the world to me. Please enjoy some cinematics of today's build, but I will shut up and leave it there. I'd like to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.